In 1929, Ahmed Kathrada was born to an Indian family in South Africa when racial discrimination was the law of the land. At a young age, Kathy joined the struggle for liberation. Risking his freedom for the rights of all South Africans, he ultimately faced the death penalty alongside Nelson Mandela and Walter Sisulu. They were given life at hard labor and sent to Robben Island. People the world over called for their release.
Robben Island was a microcosm of how apartheid applied in South Africa. I stayed in the cell for 17 and a half years. If you stood here and looked out, not only can you see Cape Town, which is quite a distance, but the warders going to the harbor with their kids, that was the advantage of the cell. The main deprivation was children.
You miss children. Mr. Mandela saw his two little girls when they were 2 and 3. Right. The next time he saw them was when they were over 16. A prisoner never loses hope. Never, ever. Although we were sentenced to life imprisonment, and for political prisoners, life meant life.
After 26 years, Kathy and his comrades walked free, infusing the struggle with new hope.
He got released and he arrived in Johannesburg. I was very good. It was a moving experience.
6 months later, Nelson Mandela was also a free man. They negotiated an end to apartheid and set to work building a new nation. Prisoner Mandela became President Mandela with Kathrada as his advisor. They chose the path of truth and reconciliation over revenge.
I have been with Kathy since the late 40s. I believe in surrounding myself with strong characters who will tell me when I'm wrong, and he is that character.
Old comrades worked with young leaders to make their highest ideals the law of the land.
There are many aspects of his life. His courage, his foresight, his thoroughness, one would like to emulate that.
Kathy teaches people in South Africa and around the world about the history, triumphs, and lessons of the journey to freedom. He is a vigilant champion of ethical standards and of racial equality.
We want Robben Island to be a monument. One wants to perpetuate the positive aspects, and that is a place of triumph. Because Robben Island played a very important role in the struggle, although we were in prison. And the struggle to crush apartheid was in some ways less difficult than the struggle we are facing now. It's always easier to crush something than to build.
He has been a great instrument of the movement. That is what he has brought. Confidence in the future.
Ahmed Kathrada is a principled, modest, and gentle man. He lives by his belief that truth and justice will always triumph. His life is an ongoing example of the unbeatable power of love.